Nancy, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
I want to get right into it, so we'll just go with it. Do you believe Gypsy Rose should be serving a 10-year sentence for second-degree murder?
No, I do not think she should be serving a 10-year sentence, and I'll tell you why. In my mind, Gypsy Rose Blanchard is the victim in this case. Gypsy Rose Blanchard was victimized by her mother, Dee Dee Blanchard. Since she was a child, Dee Dee Blanchard, I believe, suffered from Munchausen by proxy and therefore would subject her tiny daughter. This started when Gypsy Rose was just about 3 months old, to all sorts of medical treatments, in effect, abusing her. After a lifetime of abuse, I think any jury in their right mind would have acquitted her.
Now, touching on the syndrome that Munchausen by proxy, can you just give us a breakdown of what that is exactly?
Yes. It comes from the name Baron von Munchausen. Munchausen is when you bring attention to yourself by faking illnesses. Munchausen by proxy is when you make someone else ill in order for you, again, to get attention. It's a sort of a histrionic mental or personality disorder where you're always the center of attention. And whether wittingly or unwittingly, you will do anything to maintain that attention. You crave it, you need it, you'll do anything to get it. When you can't get it yourself, you get it through your child. We typically see Baron von Munchausen by proxy syndrome in mothers who make their children sick so that they are the good mother, they are the caretaker, they get all the praise for taking care of this sick child. That's what it is, and it truly is sick.
What was Gypsy told that she actually suffered from? What were the illnesses that were?
Can I tell you what this little girl went through? Well, she was told she had cancer. She was told she had leukemia, muscular dystrophy, all sorts of disorders, including vision disorders, ailments that would require her to take very powerful drugs. She endured multiple surgeries, including having all of her saliva glands removed, but to stop drooling. And the reason she was drooling is because the mother, Dee Dee Blanchard, would rub in numbing ointment onto her mouth so she'd drool, so the child could then have a surgery to remove all that. All of her teeth were pulled out of her mouth surgically because they were ruined, most likely because of unnecessary prescribed medication. She had a feeding tube inserted into her stomach. She had operations on her ears, operations on her eyes. It was endless what this child went through. That's mutilation of a child's body, unnecessary operations. And the mother just stood by and let it happen.
Now, when you have something like this, I've never heard of a case like this and the extremities that she went to hurt her own daughter. Gypsy wasn't allowed to speak with these doctors, but how could these doctors prescribe these medicines or allow things like this to happen when in reality she was not even sick?
That's the question. Now, there's one doctor, I looked him up, Bernardo Flasterstein, and he was a pediatric neurologist. And he said, this child does not have muscular dystrophy. He had to do a muscle biopsy to find that out. And he confronted the mother about it. And this is what she would do to outsmart the doctor. She even used Hurricane Katrina to her advantage because they were in New Orleans, they were in Louisiana, and they blamed the hurricane that all the records were lost. They had to relocate. Translation, get a whole new set of doctors. The one set of doctors who were treating her, they had just moved. And another thing she did, and this is so cruel, when she would be talking to the doctors, she'd put her hands over Gypsy's ears and go, it hurts her too much to hear me tell what's wrong with her. So Gypsy very often didn't even hear what her mother was saying. And if Gypsy tried to say anything back, she'd squeeze her painfully. She's just a little girl. This all started when she was 3 months old, actually, but really manifested at age 7 when Gypsy had a bike accident and skinned her knee. And she would grip the little girl's hand so hard, she wouldn't say anything else. She made the child fake being in a wheelchair for years.
It's just so hard to hear everything that you're saying to me. I know of this
I
story.
wish you could have
and
seen that medicine cabinet.
Oh, I do
It
want
was
to.
no cabinet.
I want to talk about that.
It was a linen closet. You should see it. Shelf after shelf after shelf, all lined up where you put your sheets and your towels and your wash rags. It was all Gypsy's medication. None of it she needed. She had one ailment. You know what it was? She had a lazy eye. That was her only ailment. Her head was shaved. She drooled. She had no teeth. She was forced into a wheelchair.
How does someone like that prepare to be in jail when your entire life you've been turned into this, whatever she left her daughter for? She obviously didn't care at all. But how do you even, how does she function in real life? How do you function in jail?
Well, from what I can tell, she dropped out of regular school in the 2nd grade. This girl has a 2nd grade education. Now, behind bars, she's managed to get a GED. She taught herself to read, reading all the Harry Potter series, if you can imagine that. Those are some pretty big words in there for children. So she taught herself how to read. She's gotten her GED behind bars. She's gotten treatment for post-traumatic stress syndrome behind bars. But when she gets out into the real world, I don't know how she will fare, because that's how she ended there. In jail. She met up with a guy online, Nicholas Gudijan, and she really begged him to help her. And he stabbed Dee Dee dead. Now, true, Gypsy did help plan it. She certainly did. But I still say, if she had gone to a jury, she would have walked scot-free. When she gets out, I think she's so confused. She's been manipulated so much, and she has manipulated so many people. I don't know if she'll ever be normal.
If you love that video, you're going to love everything on the Access YouTube channel. So hit the subscribe button. You can thank me later. Hit it.